I'm always fascinated with the idea of like how much Negadelphia is appropriate for a 10-1 team because we're not. I think people get the wrong idea. They're like, oh, you're crushing Seth Joyner. You're all about sunshine and rainbows, and you want to blow sunshine up the Eagles' butts. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But I want to keep things in perspective. Obviously, they got stuff they can improve and stuff that they can fix. But I'm not going to go overboard. I'm going to try to find the right balance for a team that has 10 wins and 1 loss. And I don't want to be like, I want to appreciate that and enjoy that because it doesn't happen very often, as we know. But yeah, I mean, there's shit they got to fix and there's stuff that they have to do. So what is the appropriate level of Negadelphia for a team that's 10-1?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm somebody that kind of came into the industry when like the negativity was thriving, and I've been in it a long time now. So I've kind of seen like the change a little bit, being on the front lines of it. It's tough when you say like, yeah, they got things to improve. You're talking about them in terms of improving to be a Super Bowl champion. So like you have to take that with a grain of salt. Like, yeah, there's some things to improve upon to get to that final level of winning a championship. Things have been pretty good here the last 10, 15 years outside the Flyers now and the Phillies, for about 8 years there. It's not the same sports landscape I grew up with. So I think the landscape has changed. I think our ownership's a lot better than it used to be. And now it's, me and you are in the age where we grew up with negative, bad teams. And now we've kind of seen the shift to good ownership and good teams. So it's a delicate line to walk, when you nitpick on the rush defense, it's because you think they're good enough to win a Super Bowl. And if they can just improve that one thing, or if they can get a return man that can do this, it's hard to quantify or clarify, but it's in terms of the broader picture, which is now winning championships. Before it used to be, can they get to the playoffs? And it's like, well, no, now they're an upper echelon team. So let's fucking do it. And what do you need to do it? So, you kind of have to take, I guess, who is saying it, in your weight of the criticism.
Sure, fine.
I guess it's how you frame it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
absolutely.
Because you mentioned like you said you talked about age, right? You and I are close to the same age, right?
Yeah.
And Pagan's not that far behind us. But I think like to use Seth as another example, like he's an older guy and he comes from a player's mindset, right? I don't think that like a millennial or like a Zoomer generation, it like settles for less. Like we want them to be just as good as everybody else. But I'm not gonna like blow a gasket because like they held them to 140 rushing yards instead of 130. Like, I'm going to try to like infuse a little bit of pragmatism where I can,
Yeah, I mean, there's always areas every team can improve upon. Even the championship teams can usually improve upon something. Does it end up being your Achilles heel or not? How much of a deficit is it for you? Some of these younger kids have grown up and, they came up with the Phillies in 2006 through 12. And it's like, holy shit. I came up with the Phillies in the late 80s, early 90s, and outside of 93 and some vitamins, it was Drek for 20 years. So it kind of is who's delivering the message, and you kind of have to weigh the deliverer. It's a strange dynamic we find ourselves in.
Yeah, I think the next generation is going to be set up for kind of success with the whole like Posidelphia stuff. I mean, you've seen a World Series, you've seen a Super Bowl, you've seen the process, but you've also seen, the good parts of Joel Embiid and everything. You saw a World Series run. Like,
yeah, I mean, a buddy of mine got my daughter a Bryce Harper jersey when she was born, and I was like, holy shit, she's gonna be 12 years old before he's gone. Like, she's gonna grow up knowing like MVP Phillies players. When we were growing up, there was no MVP Phillies players. That just wasn't a thing. And now we've seen Ryan Howard and Jimmy Rollins and Bryce Harper. We're not spoiled because we're not the Boston Red Sox during that run, but we've got it pretty good.